In the 20th century, the forest was to prove an irresistible attraction for yet more invaders. This time, not people looking for new homes, but for wide open spaces to try out their wonderful new flying machines.
This 1939 Tiger Moth is an incredible aircraft and has its very own place in British aviation history. But did you know the New Forest played a key role in the very early days of flight? And down there at East Boldre was one of the first ever flying schools in the country.
It's hard to imagine this little village was so significant, and today there's little to show there ever was an airfield. Back in 1910, the site on Beaulieu Heath was chosen by American J. Armstrong Drexel and Bournemouth businessman William McArdle to set up the New Forest Flying School, and a flood of would-be pilots joined up. However, they had to get the planes here in the first place, which is where one villager and his horse stepped in.
My grandfather, Fred Johnson, was a carter, and his job was to tow the aircraft from Brockenham Station to East Boldre Airfield Flying School.
So they used to come in on the train?
That's right, yeah, in big crates, like the containers you see now, and they'd unpack them. The wings were all folded, the propellers were all tied into the airframe, and you hook them up, and it's just like towing a big pram, really, because that's all they were, flying prams.
And sometimes those flying prams came a serious cropper. Remember, this was the very start of aviation. Two local pilots, one a Second World War veteran, are full of admiration for those who took to the air when the school first opened.
Teaching was a bit basic. I suppose it was, there's the aeroplane, get in and fly it.
Give it a go.
And they didn't always manage it.
And when it went wrong, it went spectacularly wrong, as we've seen from some of these photographs. I mean, we've got planes which noses are right in the ground.
A bit, yeah. He probably landed on something, the wheel dug in, and it just upturned.
They didn't know the theory of flight. It seems incredible that they didn't know what caused a spin in those days. What you've got to do when you get a spin is put the stick forward so the nose goes down to uninstall it. And of course your natural reaction is you're going down fast, you pull the stick back, which makes it even worse. They go on spinning until you hit the ground.
I mean, that's a corker, isn't it?
Yes,
look at that.
Wonderful.
Apparently, the owner of the house was in the bath at the time.
I got him out a bit quick, I expect. A bit dodgy in those days.
Who would get into a plane like that in their right mind and leave the ground?
Why not? You see a bird doing it, why can't you do the same?
But a bird was made to do it, we're not.
Ah, well, that's where the aeroplane comes in.
Ah yes, forgot to say, Doug made his own World War I biplane. SE-58, that's him there!
89-year-old Doug spent 4 years building this plane, a true labour of love and a tribute to those early pilots.
The men in those days, they were wonderful, absolutely wonderful. To think that they were doing things that nobody had ever done before. I'm only just following in their footsteps, lightly.
The people of East Boldre are rightly proud of their part in aviation history, but there is one mystery which needs to be solved. This may look like a piece of open heathland, but carved into it was the word Beaulieu. 5 metres high, 33 metres long. It could clearly be seen from the air, but for some reason it was covered up and has remained hidden for years.
The name was put here to guide pilots to the airfield, but over time the words faded from view, till now.
Today's a really important day because the villagers have decided that once again the world should see the name Beaulieu. They're going to restore the letters and the work starts now.
There's still a faint outline of the original letters left, and the villagers are digging out the grass that's grown over them to reveal the chalk that was put here 100 years ago to mark them out.
We can now see where it turns.
So you've definitely found the chalk already, and
we
you're
have
starting to unearth the outline.
Yeah, we've actually found a corner, which is exciting.
We'll be back later to find out how they get on. But over at the Forest's first ever flying school, things are looking much better. We've come back to East Boldre to see how the villagers have got on reclaiming a piece of their own history. And there's no doubt about it, the old flying school is firmly back on the map. They really have done something quite special. Just look at this. So what do you think your granddad would make of this?
I think my granddad would be wholly chuffed, being that he was part of it in the first place, you know, bringing the planes up to the airfield. I think he'd be wholly delighted.
Hard to think that this little place here saw the dawn of aviation in 1910. That's amazing, isn't it? And somehow we're reconnecting with that period of time.
I was part of the A, so I'm part of the A team.
If I've never ever done anything else with my life, I think this is probably one of the most worthwhile projects.
What's clear about the people we've met along our journey is how passionate they are about their links to the past and where they live. After all, this wasn't any old story, this was their great British story. Oh, no. I think I got it right in my ear.